let Miss Coach Crystal go ahead. It's all you, bet.
Okay, y'all. So today we're gonna talk about credit and business credit and a few other things. If you have any questions whatsoever, please do not hesitate to ask. Ms. Laura, if you could help me out, if somebody raises a hand or something that I don't
I'll
see,
manage all that. Yep.
okay. Um, so if you have any questions, ask them. There are no horrible questions. There are no stupid questions, especially when it comes to your money. So let's get to getting. Let me share my screen real quick. Now here I go clicking all around because y'all know I don't be on the technology. Hold on. Dang.
Look, Crystal, you couldn't even be as bad as me. I promise.
Y'all see that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we good? That's the whole screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, y'all see me in the corner. Hey. Ooh, yeah, okay. All right. Okay, so this presentation that I put together for you guys is called What You Need to Know About Business Credit. And it goes also for your personal credit, but we'll get into that more as we get into the slides. Of course, you see it's presented by me, Coach Crystal Nixon, and all those letters that I be forgetting sometimes. So let's get to rolling. Don't forget, questions, questions, questions. Ask all you need. And if I don't have the answer, I will um, I will find the answer for you if you give me some time to the questions that you ask. So let's go. Everybody can hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, y'all. All right, so let's go. All right, so we start off letting you guys know the biggest business credit secret in the universe. I don't know if anybody has ever told y'all this, but your personal credit is your business credit. So when you're first starting out, any credit that you accumulate or any accounts that you open or try to open will use your personal information, your social security number, your credit rating, your payment history, your collection history to establish that credit. And there are ways that you can get around establishing business credit without using your personal credit, but those usually are either tedious, slightly illegal, or they just don't work because it's so hard to establish business credit at the beginning without using your personal credit. So we start off that way. We're going to talk about the 5 C's of credit also, and it's an outdated concept, but it's very valuable information so that you can put it all together when it's time for you to go apply for loans or apply for credit for your business. So you have character, capacity or cash flow, you have collateral, you have capital, and you have condition. And so we'll get into those more on the next slides. Y'all can see the whole screen, right? Because mine is blocked a little bit on this side. Okay.
Yeah, we can see the whole
We can
screen.
see it.
Okay.
We can see it.
Character is your personal reputation and general impression you make on your lender or your integrity. Back in the days before all of this electronic and technology stuff going on, you used to have to go into a bank or make an appointment with your banker to ask for money for a loan. So you would sit in front of them and you would discuss what you need the money for, and y'all would discuss all of your financial capabilities, and then they would either approve or deny you. So for character, it's your reputation. It's your first impression that you give the lender. So in some cases, you might see lenders at events. Like if you go to a networking event, you might see someone who works for Fifth Third Bank or for Ally Bank or whatever bank. That's when your 5 C's start. If you are in the room with a lender or a potential benefactor, is it a benefactor? Or a potential benefactor, you immediately start putting on. You got to have your elevator pitch and your little spiel together, and they start judging you at that point. If you can get in there, that's a good place to get in. You have capacity, which is the next C, and that's whether your business makes enough money to pay all its bills, including the loan that you're going to try to take out when you apply for money. Collateral is something of value that's tangible that you can kind of trade in. So it's like some people will put their houses up, or some people may have a car that's paid off and they might put that up so that they can have some kind of collateral. So the bank, so that you have some skin in the game as well as the bank when they lend you money. And then business capital is what the business owns, which are your assets. And then and what it owes, also referred to as liability. I don't know how that got switched up. I'm sorry, y'all. That's the traditional accounting equation. Assets equals equity minus liability. And then you have condition. Loan conditions that a lender considers when approving your loan, like what neighborhood you're going to open up your grocery store or your boutique in. What is the demographics of what are the demographics of the neighborhood and things like that. Okay, any questions about the 5 C's before we move on into the meat and potatoes? Sweet. All right, beware.
Crystal, I'm sorry, you moved so fast, I didn't get to unmute my line. I want to ask you, you said it's somewhat irrelevant or they've changed away from the 5 C's. Can you address that a little bit?
Yeah, so like I said before, you used to have to go in a bank to apply for loans and to have access to capital and things like that. So this is what the banking industry used to determine, this is the system, the 5 C's, to determine whether or not you were worthy of lending money to. So that's basically what these C's were. And so right now, I'm saying it doesn't make a big difference nowadays in 2020, especially because everything is so automated that all they're checking are your numbers. All they're checking is your score. All they're checking are your financials. And most things are done online anyway, so you wouldn't have to meet with anyone. So if you talk to somebody in the banking industry or the credit industry about the 5 C's, they'll be like, oh, that's old school, but it still gives you an idea of the things that banking industries and other lenders are looking for when it comes to you securing a loan with them. Good. All right. I hope I explained it and didn't go around in circles.
You did a great job.
Okay. So beware. I'm so dramatic, y'all. Okay. Beware. So when you're applying for a loan, beware of receiving a loan offer that you didn't apply for. You've been pre-approved, or all you have to do is mail this in and sign this paper and you get this 25 grand. Those are usually scams. Beware of lenders who promise you loan approval no matter what your credit history or credit score is, because those are predatory lenders or more than likely people or organizations that are doing illegal things. Beware of being rushed to sign papers. Never sign any blank papers. Let me go back one. Never sign any blank papers. Like if you see any financial papers and they have blanks in them where you think numbers should be, don't sign those. And then beware of really high interest rates and high fees, because that lets you know that whoever you are borrowing from could be a predatory lender. Questions, anybody? All right. All right, let's talk about the cost of bad credit, and then we're going to talk about what credit is and all those things afterward. I put this in here because it lets you know by score. You see 500, 620, 720 on the left-hand side of the screen. You see that this is a $10,000 loan over a 5-year term, and these in the middle are the various interest rates. Do I have a pointer clicker thingy? Arrow option. Okay, there I am. Here are the interest rates and the monthly payments. So for somebody with a subprime credit score, which is about a 500, anywhere between 500 and 630, 640, that's a subprime credit score. And if you want to borrow $10,000, if you even get approved, your interest rate is going to be 17%, which is super high. And then your monthly payment will be $249. If you had a slightly higher credit score to 620, still subprime, but way better than a 500. You may get an 11% interest rate. I'm not a double-digit interest rate fan at all. So if you can help it, never, or try not to, or try to avoid signing up for loans with double-digit interest rates. But if you had a 620 and the interest rate was 11%, you would pay $217. And then if you had a 720, which is considered good credit, the interest rate would only be 3%, and you would only be paying $182 a month for your $10,000 loan over a 5-year term. So actually having bad credit and a lower credit score does cost you more money. All right, so for Experian, They have where you can search your business credit on their website. The web address is SBCR, so Small Business Credit, sbcr.experian.com. And one more time, it's S as in Sam, B as in banana, C as in crystal, and R as in really, .experian.com. And you can go there and you can sign up and see how much it'll cost. What you can do is when you type in your information here on the screen, because this is what it's going to look like, they will show if you have a credit record, period. And they'll give you a little information, but in order to see your full credit report, you'll have to pay. It's not very expensive at all. But what'll happen, like I said, when you type in your information, a little bit of stuff will pop up about you if you have a credit record already. If you don't, then nothing will pop up. And then you won't be prompted to pay any fees or anything. All right, so credit score composition. What makes up your credit score? So with me working in credit for all these years I've been working, when people find out, they tend to ask me, what's the secret? You know, how do I get my credit to be great? Tell me what the secret is. What do I need to do? And then they think I'm being facetious when I say you need to pay your bills on time. 1 second. That you need to pay your bills on time. And I'm like, I know it sounds like I'm being like, pay your bills on time, but really 35% of the makeup of your credit score is whether or not you pay your bills on time. I always tell a story about when I first started working in credit, I was so busy managing other people's money and their finances that I forgot about mine. And the credit card company called me and they were like, Crystal, are you gonna pay your bill at all this month or what we gonna do? And I had totally forgotten. This was probably 5 years ago. I had totally forgotten and I paid it over the phone immediately. But by that time, it was too late. So my bill was 30 days or more past due because I forgot to pay it. And I went from a 717 credit score to a 620. And it took me probably 2.5 years to get back up to over 700. So if you don't take nothing away from credit today, please remember to pay your bills on time. And also remember that the higher your credit score is, the harder the hit. So if I had a 640 and I missed a payment, my score probably would have went down to a 620 or a 615. But since I had a 717 credit score, it went down 100 points, about 100 points. So remember that the bigger they are, the harder they fall. The next biggest makeup of your credit score is capacity, and that's just the amount of credit that you have to be used. So you've heard before, oh, charge stuff up on your credit card and pay it down to zero every month and you'll have a great credit score. That's not necessarily true, but the more of a balance that you have on your credit cards or your credit accounts, the lower your score is. So naturally, when you pay things down, your score goes higher. When you pay things off, your score goes lower. I know that doesn't make any sense, but it's only temporary. So I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but if you had a car or something that you paid off, your credit score goes down. And you're like, what? I paid it off. But that's because you no longer have available credit. You paid that completely off. So it will go down temporarily and then it'll shoot back up. The next biggest makeup of the credit score is the length of credit. So the longer you've had a credit profile, the more the chance is that your credit score will be higher. I know we've all had parents or grandparents who were feeling like, oh, they're sitting over there on that money or they have a lot of money. And most of the time that may be true. But a lot of the times what's going on is they have a older credit history. So like I said, the older your credit history, the more likely right now your score would be higher. And then coming in last place tied is your credit mix and inquiries. So inquiries are when you apply for credit. Back in the day, we used to be able to tell how many points you would lose if you applied for something. So if it was like you applied for a credit card, you would lose anywhere between 7 and 21 points. If you applied for a car, you would lose anywhere between 15 and 30 points on your credit score. And then if you apply for a house, you would lose more points. So that's another tidbit of advice I want to give you. Let's don't apply for anything unless you know that you're going to get it, because nothing is worse than applying for credit, not getting it, and losing multiple credit points, points off your credit score. So if you're going to apply for something, make sure you can get it so that you can balance out that loss of points with approval.
Can you explain that, Coach Crystal? What do you mean by that?
I'm sorry.
By don't apply for something if you don't know if you can get it.
Okay. So, hold on, somebody trying to get in.
I'll let her in.
So what I'm saying is, like I just said, when you apply for anything, you lose points from your credit score. So like if you apply for something and you get approved, that's fantastic. You're going to lose points because inquiries cost points, period. Hard inquiries cost points, period. But if you don't get approved, you lose your points and you don't have an approval. So now you're just out of points on your credit score. You probably won't be able to qualify for nothing else because now your score is lower than it was when you first started applying. So that's why I say, we try to make sure your credit score is where it needs to be before we recommend that you apply for anything, so that you can balance out that loss of points with approved application.
So an example, Crystal, I just want to see if I get it. So if my credit score is 600 and I'm trying to buy a new car, and I've probably got a couple credit cards and maybe some late payments, I'm probably in a bad situation to see if they'll finance it. Is that what you're saying? And it's going to cost me some more points for the inquiry?
More points, especially with vehicles, because there are different credit scores too that make up different industries. So if you go apply for a credit card, that's your regular FICO score. We've heard of FICO. Those are the people who have kind of a lockdown on the credit industry, who everybody uses. And so if you want to apply for a credit card, you have your FICO score. If you want to apply for a car, you have your FICO auto score. If you want to apply for a house, you have a FICO mortgage score. If you want to buy a business location, you have a FICO retail business, like building score. So there are a lot of different credit scores and a lot of different ways they're calculated. But when you apply for things, either one you use, whatever score you use for whatever reason, you're going to lose points. So we want to make sure that you can get approved before you apply, so you won't lose points in bank. The last one is inquiries, and that's, of course, like I said, credit mix, Credit mix is basically the kinds of credit you have. So do you have all credit cards? Do you have a credit card, a student loan, and a car? Do you have a mortgage and a car and two credit cards? The more mixed up your credit is, the better. So the banks want to see that you know how to handle different types of credit. Oh, she's paying student loans and she's paying a credit card and she has a mortgage and she hasn't missed payments. That's really good. She has 3 different types of credit. She's balancing them well. She'll be okay. Any questions? Anybody? All right, we going. Is this right? Okay. This is how to raise your credit score. Of course, on-time payments. And a lot of times, if you can't make your payment on time, you could call whoever you're making your payment to, especially with what's going on now. And they will be lenient and they will try to hold out as long as they can from reporting it on your credit report that you have a late payment. So talking to whoever you're indebted to is a really big plus, being able to have a conversation with them. Everybody ain't nice, but it's worth a try. You can get a secure card or a secured loan. That's when you go into a bank and let's say you give them $300. They take your $300, they put it into a savings account. They issue you a credit card for $300. And you spend the credit card and you pay it off every month just like you would a regular credit card. So you're building credit and you still have your money in the bank as collateral for them giving you a credit card. So then at the end of a year or maybe 2 years, some of them have 2-year terms, they will cut up your secure card, give you a real card, release your funds, and maybe you've earned a little interest on top of that too, depending on what type of account you have and what bank you bank at. So I do recommend secure cards and secure loans. I recommend them through credit unions and not retail banks, because credit unions usually have more lenient loan practices and they offer lower interest rates, and you have accessibility to different products once you sign up for one or two different ones. They have a lot more of an array of products that would help you get your credit together than a retail bank does. So credit unions all the way. Store cards. Store cards are all right. So store cards, Macy's, Target, Meijer, Kmart. I don't even know if Kmart exists anymore. Kohl's. Those are store cards. The one thing about store cards that kind of sucks is that there is no merit system based on your credit score. So if I have a 830 credit score and Miss Laura has a 520 credit score, we would still both be paying the 28% interest rate for our Target card. Doesn't matter that her score is 300 points higher than mine. That's what I do not like about store cards, because then it's kind of like, what's the point of having good credit if I'm going to be paying the same interest rate as somebody with a lower credit score? If you are going to get a store card, please try to make it for a store where you can get everything from. So like food, clothing, medicine, toiletries, tires. So like a Walmart or a Meijer or a Sam's, somewhere that you can buy everything you need in case of an emergency, and not just getting a Macy's and then a Target and a Kohl's. I don't know who got all them cards, but I'm just saying, don't get those. Next, you can become an authorized user. I know probably all of y'all have already heard about this, but if you can get someone that you know, that you trust, who trusts you, to put you on one of their credit accounts as an authorized user, it automatically shoots up your credit score. That is by far the quickest and fastest way to increase your credit score monumentally. Another way is to dispute things on your credit report and get them removed. It's not monumental score increase, but it does increase your score. But becoming an authorized user is a guaranteed way to increase your credit score quickly and by a lot of points. So what would happen is I would go to, is it Shaquilla Jefferson? Hey. I would go to Shaquilla like, girl, I know you got good credit. Can I please get on your Visa? You know, the one with all that big credit limit you was telling me about. And she'll say, girl, no, you're not messing up my credit. And I'll say, no, it doesn't affect your credit at all. All you have to do is put me on as an authorized user. Don't send me a card. I don't need a card. I don't have access to anything that you have access to. But the minute they put me on Shaquilla's card that she's had for 7 years and paid on time for 7 years, it's going to look like I've had a card for 7 years that I paid on time for 7 years. And then whatever her available balance is going to look like I have that amount of money available too. And that's why your score jumps substantially, very quickly and substantially in a small amount of time if you are an authorized user on somebody's account.
Coach Crystal, how long should they use that system? Is it a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, a year? What does that look like?
Okay, so this is what I tell my clients. Whatever you need to do, think about the time limit or the time frame for doing that, and that's how long you become an authorized user. So I had a client before who was just trying to be approved for a house. Not just, but she was trying to be approved for a house. And she became an authorized user on her mom's credit card. And it took 60 days for it to record, and it came up, and her score went up about 80 or 90 points. She got approved for her house. She took herself off her mom's card. Her credit score went back down. It don't matter no more because she got her house. So if you need it only for 30 days, do it for 30. If you need it for an extended period of time, some programs require you to have credit monitoring if they're lending to you for an extended amount of time. So if you need it to be on your card for a while, on your credit report for a while, keep it open. But I would say keep it open for as long as you need to do what you have to do. I'm an authorized user on one of my husband's cards, and if he has a $10,000 card and he's got, I don't know, $5,000 available on it, When you look at my credit report, it says I have a card that has a $10,000 limit, and it says my payments are on time, and I don't have any delinquent payments. It doesn't say what the balance is. It doesn't say when he paid it. It just says this card is recording on your credit. It's helping you out, and this is how much is on the card. Excuse me. You could also use Experian Boost, and I'm going to click on this and hope it works. All right. Whoop, whoop. So this is Experian Boost.
We can't see it, Crystal.
You can't?
Yep. So you got to stop sharing this screen and then go and share that screen.
See, y'all don't know what I'm doing. Okay, let's get here. Okay, so let's do this. Can y'all see me?
Yep.
Hey, everybody. All right. And then I'm going to share this screen. Boom. Can you see that?
It's coming through. Yes, ma'am. We see it.
Okay, thank you. Experian offers something called Boost. And so what that entails is essentially putting bills that you pay every month that are not regularly and traditionally on your credit report, so you can receive credit for paying those bills on time every month. Bills like your rent, bills like your cell phone bill, utility bills, things like that. They are not traditionally on your credit report unless they have been delinquent at some point or you've had an issue with payment, then they'll show up. But other than that, if you've ever paid your DTE or consumer's bill on time every month, or your Metro PCS, T-Mobile, Sprint bill on time every month, nobody is recording that. You're not getting credit for paying those bills on time. So that's where Experian Boost comes in. You report those types of bills and payments that you make to them, and they put them on your credit report, and it can boost up your credit report immediately. Boost up your credit score immediately by having those things on your credit report. However, if you have been one to pay your rent late once or twice, or pay DTE past the due date, or pay your cell phone bill a day or two late, then Experian Boost might not be for you, because just like it reports the positive things, it will report the negative things too. So you can just Google Experian Boost. And like it says here, get credit for your phone and utility bills, access your free Experian credit report and FICO score, and includes Experian credit monitoring and alerts, and it's free. So you should be good on that. Again, it's Experian Boost. All right, so wait a minute. Now I gotta stop sharing this screen. Go back
Yes,
in
ma'am.
and share this screen. All right, boom. All right, where am I at? Okay, so that's how to raise your credit score. Anybody got any questions before we move on?
Miss Jefferson raises her hand. She has a question.
So I wanted to know, how do you feel about what is it called? Credit builder loans from credit union?
They are fantastic. They are fantastic. They are the same as the secured card or the secured loans. That's what it is. And they pretty much take your funds, or sometimes they have programs that will give you the funds. So sometimes a program will donate $500, or they'll open up an account for you for $500, and then you can get a secure card or a credit builder card or a credit builder loan. So yes, fantastic. But credit unions. Anybody else? Nope.
Hi, Ms. Crystal. I don't have a question necessarily, but more so a comment about the authorized user. I just kind of wanted to add that for those of us with older teens or those college age students, that is also a good method to add them. It assists them in building their own credit and kind of will help to keep them out of our pockets because they have their own good credit they can use.
That's on that, okay.
Yes, when your children hit that, 16, 17-year-old mark, add them to your, accounts as authorized users. Now, if you know your credit is jacked, don't kill those babies' credit scores. But if you have solid credit, I would recommend adding your children as well.
Yeah, so she is absolutely right. And additionally, for like American Express, you can add your kids at 15 if you have an Amex card. Everybody else, you have to wait until they're 16 and add them to your card. And like she said, it'll give them a head start. It'll keep them out of your pocket. A lot of us wasn't ready to start out as adults, credit-wise and financially. When we started, we were just pushed out there. This is a way for you, like Ms. Glover said, to give your kids a little head start, put some training wheels on it while they're young so they can fly when it's time for them to fly. Thank you, Ms. Glover. All right, where we going now? Okay, can we talk about self-employment taxes? Who on here are self-employed? Raise your hand. Is there a hand raise feature on here?
Yeah, but we don't use it. But yeah, I think they all are.
So yes, let's talk about self-employment taxes. I told y'all that I'm an accountant by trade, and that is my number one mode of business. And then so like half accounting, and well, 60% accounting and 40% everything else. And one thing I encounter all the time is tax questions and people who either owe a lot of money or haven't filed taxes in years, even though they run a business. So I'm gonna give you guys a few pointers. Again, ask all the questions. All right, we want to keep it simple when we start our self-employment taxes, okay? So usually that means filing your self-employment tax return with your regular individual tax return. So you file your 1040, you attach something like a Schedule C or a Schedule C EZ, and the EZ is for when you make under $5,000 in self-employment income. If you make over $5,000 in self-employment income, you would have to use a full Schedule C. Self-employment tax is basically what you're doing, what you're calculating. So a big question that I have from a lot of people who own businesses, small businesses and self-employed people is, how come I don't get a tax return when I file taxes? And that's because when you're filing a self-employment tax return, you're basically calculating how much Social Security and Medicare tax you are responsible for to pay the federal government. So as you know, for individual taxes, we pay federal tax, we pay Social Security, Medicare, we pay state tax, city tax. And so for self-employment tax, you pay Social Security and Medicare, and that's your business's portion to put into the pot. We're gonna talk about write-offs in a minute, so let's go back one. So with that being said, I got my little notes right here. The self-employment tax rate right now for 2020 is 15.3%. So whatever money you make for 2020, make sure that 15.3% of those dollars is put to the side, or you know that that is how much that you're going to be responsible for. The issue with that is most people who file self-employment returns file them with their regular return, and people have children, they have homes as write-offs, they have people in college or they're in school as a write-off. So when you file your taxes personally and you have credits and deductions that qualify, like children, the earned income credit, the child tax credit, the American Opportunity Credit, you tend to get a refund. And so people start saying, well, Crystal got a refund and she's self-employed. And it's like, well, Crystal has children and Crystal goes to college. And so she gets a credit for that. And Crystal adopted a dog from an animal shelter and she gets a tax credit for that, which you do. If you adopt a dog from an animal shelter, you can write off their medical expenses for the first 2 years on your tax return. That's just a little tidbit, but it ain't got nothing to do with what we're talking about. But the point is, when you're filing a self-employment tax return, you're really just trying to reconcile the amount of money that you owe for Social Security and Medicare taxes. So essentially, you will not be getting a return. So if you're only filing a tax return to get a return and you don't have any credits, you don't have any dependents, you don't have anything like that, you won't get one. For me, what I specialize in are the write-offs, because that is how you reduce your tax liability. So if I made $10,000 in 2017 in 2020 for my business, and the tax rate for self-employment rate is 15.3%, then that means I will owe $1,530 roughly in taxes. So it would say, Crystal, you owe for 2020 $1,500 in taxes. And then I would go in and I would start writing off stuff. So let's talk about write-offs. What I would like to tell people is that I specialize in tax avoidance and not tax evasion, because tax evasion lands you in jail, but tax avoidance is absolutely positively legal. And I learned all of these things because I taught tax law across the state of Michigan for the IRS's volunteer income tax program. So I would go from site to site, setting up sites, training people so they can run the program. And I would have to teach them enough tax law for them to be able to accurately and quickly prepare tax returns. So write-offs, let's go. Educational expenses and not going to school educational expenses. In some cases, you can write that off on your self-employment tax return, but I mean training, I mean distance learning, I mean continuing education. I mean, I bought a book off Amazon that was $50 and it had something to do with accounting. That's an educational expense. My daughter and I went to the museum and we were looking at the history of money and different types of currency. That is a write-off because it's educational. So things like that. Travel. If you have traveled in this year at all, which many of us have not yet, you can write that off. You can write off your lodging, so your hotel. You can write off your bags that you pay for on the plane, your airfare, taxi, train rides, Uber, Lyft, whatever have you that is associated with travel. You can pretty much write that off. Your vehicle. This is by far one of the biggest deductions for self-employment people is your car. So I'm going to use myself as an example. A couple of years ago, I done my taxes and we filed married filing jointly and we have one child. And we put all our stuff in the tax return and it was like, oh, you're going to get back $3,000. And we're like, wow, we paid out $45 million in taxes and we're only getting $3,000 back. And so then I started putting my business on there, and the more deductions I put, the higher our refund got, and to the point where it was like $9,000.
Wow.
Deductions I was able to write off legally for my business in order to increase our tax return. So going back to what I said a few slides ago, some people who have other credits and other deductions make out very well with self-employment tax returns, because that is how you reduce your tax liability or increase your refund to a certain extent. So yes, vehicles. You write off your mileage, you can write off your gas, you can write off your brakes and your oil changes, you can write off your tires, any toll fees you paid, any parking tickets you had that you had to pay, you can write those things off.
Crystal, can I allude to the fact that you did not say you can write off the monthly note on the car?
So, okay, so we getting into it now. Y'all know I'm a tax nerd. So you can write off your car note. Oh, I should have put that slide in here. You can write off your car note. I am a leaser. I'm a chronic leaser. I really want to stop leasing, but it is so cheap for me being a small business owner. So usually my car notes are anywhere between $300 and $380 a month, and I lease for 2 to 3 years, and I write off all of my car notes. So when you lease, you can write your car note off. So technically my car is free every year. My car is free, my gas is free, my maintenance is free, everything is free. If you own a vehicle or if you are purchasing a vehicle, you cannot write off your note. You can only write off your mileage and all the other stuff I mentioned, like gas and tires and maintenance. But if you lease and you have a small business, you can write off your entire note. And that's a lot of money. Like if you, 300 times 12 months is $3,600. That's a big deduction.
So does the car have to be in your name or the business name?
It doesn't matter, either one.
Oh, okay then.
Oh, wait a minute, you said,
Liddell woke up. Like, wait a minute.
I've been here.
That got your attention.
So then we have home office expense, and I know most of us working from home, everybody working from home now pretty much. So you can take whatever room. I usually take the biggest room in the house that is not a living room or a kitchen, and I use that as the office that the client is working in. And you can write off just by the square footage, based on the square footage of your home and the square footage of the room that you do your work in, that's a deduction. And if you want to itemize your write-offs for self-employment taxes, you can go further with the home office, and you can write off your rent or your mortgage payments, your DTE bill, consumer's energy, your water bill, if you had to do any fixing of the roof, or did you paint the house, or did you put new carpet in that bedroom? All of those things are write-offs as it, pertains to a home office. Entertainment.
So, Crystal, quick question. So, can you write off, like say your entire energy bill, or is it just like a small portion?
You write off a small portion. You put how much you paid for the entire year, and then it'll give you a portion. It's like 30%, 35%, something like that.
Okay.
Entertainment. Hold on, what's next? Okay, yes, let's go back. Entertainment. Now here is where it gets fun for me as a nerd. I have a girlfriend who does not work in a traditional capacity. She is what people would call a dancer. And I'm gonna leave that there.
You are so funny.
She's a dancer, and she's a very good dancer. And she takes her craft seriously, and she makes a whole lot of money, more money than I do. And sometimes I wonder, because I got the chops, honey. I got them, but I'm not gonna use them. But sometimes I wonder, what am I doing? But she is one of my favorite clients because I have to get creative with the write-offs and make sure they're legal, and also make sure that they, contribute to her getting a bigger refund or having less tax liability. So I've written off her breast enhancements. I've written off her teeth. She had her teeth, what do you call it, implants or something? Really pretty fake teeth put in.
Veneered. Veneered.
Veneers, yes, vocabulary, Crystal, vocabulary. Veneers, I wrote off her boobs. She had injections in her behind that I wrote off, because all of these things are needed for her to operate at maximum capacity while she's performing. These are things that she needs in order to secure her coin while she is at work. So these are qualified expenses. We wrote off her Louis Vuitton luggage, because how you gonna travel to Atlanta for the Super Bowl weekend without Louis Vuitton luggage? We write off her hair extensions, and y'all know hair costs a lot of money. We write off her hair, we write off her nails, we write off her pedicures, her manicures, her massages, her tanning, everything that she does to her body, her gym membership. She has to be fit. We write off her HelloFresh, her Kroger and Target and Meijer grocery delivery, because she has to be fit. She has to stay healthy. The food that goes into her body is important. So all of those things we write off because she is a dancer. Trying to avoid saying stripper, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. So I like to be very creative when I get, I love to get clients who work in industries that I've never had a client do before, because it forces me to get creative and do more research and kind of figure out how I can maximize their tax refund or decrease their tax liability. Here we got tax prep fees. This isn't really important, but we all know about the Tax Cut and Jobs Act that the current president put into effect in 2018. In that act, it took away a lot of deductions, regular deductions on regular individual returns that people depended on. One of those things were your tax prep fees. So basically, what the government said was you have to file taxes, and people can charge you to file them, but you shouldn't be made to pay because it's something you have to do. So you can either do them yourself, or you can take a credit that says, this is how much I pay for my taxes, and it'll reduce your tax liability. So they wrote that out. They don't have that anymore. But on your self-employment return, there's a box that says legal and professional fees. And so I write off everybody's tax prep fees, whatever I'm charging them, in that section on their self-employment tax return. So you can get credit for that. So there are a couple of other credits that he abolished that they have things to do with like oil and drilling and electric cars and stuff like that. But I try to take anything that they've taken away from individual tax returns and find a place to put them on self-employment tax returns so that you get your share, your fair share. Okay, I think that's the last one. Anybody got questions?
I have a question about the leasing. So if I already have a lease, can I still write that off on my business even though I just started my business?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You already have a card? That's on that. And yes, you can write it off.
Okay, so my other question is this. It might sound stupid, but here it go. So what if you haven't made any income yet and you have a lease, can you still write it off?
That is terrible if you haven't made any income yet. That's a horrible thing. It's fantastic. It is fantastic to me because that means that every single write-off that you get will immediately go towards the reduction of your tax liability or towards the increase of your tax refund. If you don't have any income to put in to mitigate the losses that you've taken, it's better. It's even better than having income. Let's
Okay,
talk
thank you.
real quick though. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
A question, piggybacking on that. So if you haven't made any income because you're a new startup, do you still have to pay 15% on what you on your business? You don't pay anything?
No, you don't have any tax liability. If you don't have any income, you don't have any tax liability.
Okay.
And oh, that's what I was gonna. What was I gonna say? Dr. Lewis, what was I gonna say? You said.
Well, I mentioned about not earning any money, but yet still writing off like your leases and stuff.
Oh, okay. So right. So here's what. What happens is this: when it's time to go get a loan or apply for credit for your business, we always have an issue. And I say we, meaning me and my small business clients, when we talk up front, because I ask you, what is more important to you? Being able to secure financing for the future, or getting a large refund or reducing your tax liability today? And the reason I ask that is because if your main concern is not owing a lot of taxes and increasing your refund, then it's going to show on your return that your business has had either a loss or you made very little money. There's nothing wrong with that, except for that when you go into a bank or you go to a lending institution, they're going to say, I thought you made $17,000 last year. On your tax return, it says you made $3,250 because I wrote off almost $14,000 in write-offs. And so they're going to say you don't make enough money to get this loan because it says on your tax return you only made $3,000. So I had a client just this year, before the pandemic hit, I did their taxes. Their refund was $11,000 for federal. And it was like $2,000 for the state. Biggest refund they ever got. They screaming and hollering, trying to hug on me and stuff. They were so happy because they needed the money. They are a married couple. They had like 5 kids, and it really came in handy. And then when the pandemic hit and they started offering the loans and the pandemic relief, they wanted them to submit their tax return for their small business. And they submitted it, and they were disqualified and denied the loan because they didn't have any income from business because I wrote off everything. So when you get ready to file your tax return as a self-employed person,
Wow.
you have to determine up front, are you in it to get the money right now as a refund or reduce your tax liability so you don't have to pay out your whole life savings to the IRS? Or are you looking to show in the very near future that you do have assets and that you are capable of earning income and therefore capable of being able to pay your loan back? That's that.
Crystal, I love you. I absolutely love you.
I'm married. No, I'm playing. Very honey, no. So yeah, if you have any more questions, ask them, but I'm gonna keep on going. We almost done. It seems like I've been talking a long time. Sorry, y'all. We talking about the CARES Act now. We just talked about the coronavirus relief for small business. I can't see this. Okay, so you have the 4 different types of relief. You have PPP, which is the Paycheck Protection Program, and it's a program that gives you a loan or loan forgiveness for retaining employees during the pandemic. You have the EIDL assistance, which is the economic injury and disaster
loan. Yeah.
disaster loan. And it'll provide up to $10,000 of economic relief to businesses that are currently experiencing temporary difficulties. And remember, it says up to. So you may apply and you might get $1,500 or $8,000 and not the 10. Then you got the SBA, Small Business Association, Express Bridge Loan, and it enables businesses to take a loan out to be able to bridge the gap between the pandemic and getting back to economic sufficiency. So that's what a bridge loan is. It's a loan that kind of bridges the gap. Right now I'm in financial trouble. I'm not going to be in the near future. Once this is over, then everything will be okay. And then the SBA debt relief is providing a financial reprieve to small businesses during the COVID-19 pandemic. You can access all of these things on the Small Business Association's website at sba.gov. When you go to the website, this is literally the first page that comes up, but this coronavirus small business guidance and loan resources tab thingy, it slides. It's like a slideshow, so it shows different stuff. So if that's not up when you first go to the website, you can go to the top of the page right there where the yellow banner is, and you click there, and it'll list everything you need. It'll take you, to where you need to go to apply for relief. Oh, boom! That was it. What? Anybody got
Perfect timing. Do you guys have any questions for Ms. Christo before I put you all into breakout rooms?
I do have a question.
Yeah.
My question is related to best practices for building your business credit. Right now, I operate an in-home business, but I am looking to move out of my home. And so I want best practices and tips to start to build my business credit now. I don't want to utilize any of my personal credit, but I need tips on how to create and grow and build my business credit at this point.
Do you have any business cards at all?
Nope.
What type of business do you have?
Childcare. Childcare.
Childcare. I'm trying to see what you can do. You could start off. Do you have any retail cards in your own name, like personal retail cards?
Retail? No, I don't do retail cards.
Okay, so what you would want to do is maybe a Target or a Meijer or somewhere that you can get a lot of the stuff that you order. Amazon has a credit card, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you would do is when you apply, they use your information, but they ask your business name. So then you put your business name in, and that's how you would start increasing your credit. Other than that, if you
have a cell phone, Latanya?
So my cell phone is in my business name. So how would I be able to apply for, like, should I apply for a Sam's Club card in my business? Like, my Sam's Club account is through my business.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was curious about trade lines. A lot of people are saying start with trade lines like Uline or Vendors for Supplies. They'll extend to you the lines of credit. You may start out with a net 60, but that's a good way to build credit using your business name. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a decent way. And trade lines are just the items on your credit report. That's what a trade line is. It's just whatever you have on there. A trade line could be a credit card, a student loan, a mortgage, or a loan. But yes, so you said Uline is good. And then Home Depot, I don't know what you would necessarily get from them for your childcare business.
Oh, I get a lot of stuff.
Really good at starting business accounts. I refer all of my clients to Home Depot because they are really good about letting people start a credit card, a credit account in their business name. And also, when you can, if you can, try not to do many loans. See if you can qualify for lines of credit. And that's for everybody, sorry. So the reason I favor lines of credit versus loans is because if you get a $20,000 loan, you got $20,000. You can spend it how you spend it. You pay your payment off every month and you're good. If you get a line of credit, you get a $20,000 line of credit. You pay your line of credit off every month for a year and you're good. And then you check your account, now you have a $39,000 line of credit. You pay that off good for a year and you check your account, now you have a $120,000 line of credit without having to tap into your credit resources. No credit checks, none of that. As long as you pay your bills on time when you have a line of credit, which is a credit card for most businesses, they will automatically increase your credit, increase your amount on your line without having to harm your credit score. All right. Anybody?
Excellent. So,
I have a
Crystal,
quick
please.
question. I have a
Yeah.
quick question.
Ask your
Um,
question, Olivia, and Crystal, put your contact information in the chat room so everybody can copy it while she's asking her question.
Okay.
So
Wait a minute,
when
'cause
you
you
get
asked a lot right there. What am I doing?
Put your contact information in the chat room while she's talking.
So I click on chat.
Yes,
Oh.
and dump some stuff.
All right. Okay, I'm ready, Miss Olivia.
So when you receive grants, you have to pay taxes on those. So would that be considered as income, and you pay that 15.5% self-employment tax? Yes.
So grants are not earned income.
Okay.
So the flat out simple answer to that is no. It's a little more complex, but no. You more than likely don't have to include your grants in your earned income portion of your Schedule C. You would
Okay.
put it down further somewhere along the line. I would find somewhere to shove it, and then I would find somewhere to write it right on back off.
Okay.
Okay. And we wouldn't worry about that grant.
Okay. And what about the EIDL if you receive money from that, from the government?
That's a loan.
Yeah, that's a loan. I was gonna say that's a loan, so it
Okay.
ain't got nothing to do with your credit. I mean, with your tax return either, not the loan.
Okay.
Unless
They
you get the
give you-
grant piece, on the front end, and then Crystal would turn around and shove that, like she said, somewhere else.
And
Okay.
then I would shove
Gotcha.
the loan fees somewhere else.
Gotcha.
I would
Okay.
just shove it all. I'm a shover. I am a
Okay. All right. I gotta go. I can't stay, but this has been very informational. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Excellent, excellent.
Bye, everyone.
All righty, all right. So, Crystal, you put your stuff in the chat room?
Yes, ma'am.
Fabulous. So for those of you who are not directly in the Flint Small Business Bootcamp, you want to capture her information so that you can reach out and schedule. She gives a 15-minute consultation. I think she does a really, really, really good job. You only got like 15 days before taxes are due, so you might not have enough time for her to get in there and get your taxes done, but she can lead you in some direction. I'll let her take care of that. For the next 45 minutes, she'll be talking to the Flint Small Business Bootcamp people in breakout rooms. So is there anyone who wants to go first with Coach Crystal? I'm going to assign you into Liddell goes first. So we'll put Liddell and Coach Crystal into a breakout room right now. You only have 10 minutes.
Okay, so what do I need to do?
Talk to her.
Okay. You know I'm lost. I'm like, so what do
No,
I do?
you'll see when you get in. You'll see when you get in the room. All right. So for all the rest of you, I'll send you the recording. Everyone else will get the recording. It was so good to see you, Mrs. Glover and Mr. Glover and Mrs. Shelley. Olivia is already gone. I'm so happy you guys were able to jump on the call.
Yes, very, very informational.
Excellent. I'm so happy you guys got a chance to get some of the information this morning. And we'll probably do a second reiteration of this because I'm all about the write-offs. I'm all about the write-offs. We need to reduce our tax burdens. I try to keep as much of my money as I possibly can. Unless, of course, I'm going for a loan. It just so happens that you got to understand your funding cycle and when your shortfalls may happen in your operation. That's a lot of planning, but it's necessary. So for all the rest of you who are in the Flint Small Business Bootcamp, you should sit tight and I'll stick you in there in intervals. So for everyone else, I'll talk to you all later on.
Bye.
Bye.
As always.
Talk to you later.
Yes, ma'am.
Good seeing you,
Bye-bye.
Latanya.
You too.
All right, so Miss Jefferson, Miss White, and Miss Cisco, as soon as Liddell comes out, I'll rotate another person in so that you can talk to her about your credit score, what your situation is. If you know you're going to be looking for funding, she's going to be giving you some different type of advice. If you're trying to just raise your credit score, make sure you ask her, you know, what's best? Should I be raising my credit score right now or something different? If you wanted to review your credit report for some reason, let me know and I'll set up an individual time and we'll pay her to handle that for you. All right. She gives some really good information.
I missed it all.
That's okay. I recorded it, Tish. I'll send it to you.
Oh Lord.
So our next week assignment is actually doing your startup budget. And the reason that I make you guys do your personal financial situation first is because I like people to be aware of whether or not they look like a good candidate. It just so happens that with the COVID-19, you guys couldn't have started, you couldn't have even wished this in a different way, because everybody is in such dire constraints right now because of the economy, because everything being shut down. Even people with the best business credit and the best revenue are all finding that they're in trouble because everything has been so up in the air because of this catastrophic COVID-19. That means credit scores don't mean as much. Credit scores really don't have as much of a barrier as they once did. Which is why she was saying, even on the 5 C's, this COVID-19 has drastically changed things. Like for me, I applied for the PPP and the EIDL. I got both of them. And so a lender could look at me and say, well, you're in a real drastic situation. You're looking for emergency relief funds. Why would we give you a loan? Well, I'm not unique. So if I were to look for something different, they could very well say I'm just like everybody else who's operating a business. So I don't believe it would be held against you, which is extremely important. They only have like 6 minutes left in that one breakout room. So we will.
So she would tell me what all type of loans I need to get, right?
No, she needs to first look at your credit stuff before she can tell you about what loans you should apply for. Because she can't tell you about loans until she knows your footing. She needs to see and understand your situation, Tish. And she's in Detroit, so you're in a real unique situation because you can reach her.
She looks familiar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ms. Jefferson, did you have to work last night?
No, I did not.
Which is why you're wide awake and smiling.
Yes, I am. I'm so happy too. I think this session, I couldn't have asked for nothing more. I think it was great. I'm loving it.
I know, right? You know what I like, Shaquila? I love real people who have mastered, where most of us don't participate all that well. Now, my husband is ultra conservative, so he doesn't like my mechanics when I talk about learning write-offs and doing things. He's very cautious, where I'm extremely on the opposite end. I want to reduce every freaking tax burden possible.
Right, as long as it's a thing.
It's legitimate, right?
You doing it on the legit side of it.
Yeah, right.
I agree. My daddy always says, Shaquila, she'll break the law as long as she knows she ain't going to jail. That's what I always say.
You know, ain't no room. There's no jail for me. There is no room with no metal box and no steel gates.
Right.
I cannot do it. I can't do it.
I'll do slightly. Like I like to say.
Right up to it. right up against it.
Right. I just want to see what they're doing over there. Okay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So who wants to go next? Who wants to go next with Coach Crystal?
I will.
All right. Chanel was quick. Chanel was like, let me take the mute off and let me be ready. Excellent. And like I said, if you make the request and I can understand how it'll help you, I can defend putting you in a position where she can work with you on whatever that is that we need to work with. So she would have to give me some private information. I really don't. That's why I never really want I don't want anything with your social security number on it until it makes sense for me to have access to it. But I mean, I think having somebody who can do both credit and taxes and accounting is just, I mean, those are 3 specialties, and she's all across the board with accounting, taxes, and credit repair. Like, oh my God. That's awesome. Looks like, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to do a write-off and buy a brand new laptop because I hate not being able for you to see me. I want you to see my facial expressions. I think that means too much. All right, only about 2 minutes left, Chanel. Then you'll be in there.
Mm-hmm.
So do you gotta press a particular button to get in there?
What'd you say?
When you put us in there, we have to press anything on our end?
Okay. Nope, it goes automatic active.
Okay. I miss being on here.
We didn't do it last week because of Father's Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you got on though, Tish. I'm very glad. I've been missing you too. And you actually are all caught up. She pulled her credit report. She started on her business plan. She's done her demographic study. We need to get back into writing more in the business plan. And I like to see the rest of you. So you should be sort of working on those sheets up through week 5. Next week in class, before our class end, I'm going to give you what I need you to do to figure out your startup budget. Janelle, are you selling any product right now?
No.
Do you have any product to sell?
Like samples, like not what I want to sell, because the stuff that I want has my logo on it. Like the makeup company, the makeup supplier, they put my logo on it, but I haven't got that stuff yet. But like samples of stuff, I have. Okay,
so you got something in the pipeline coming?
Yes.
Okay. How much did it cost you?
Let me look at the invoice. I gotta look at it. I think it was like close to like $1,800, because I didn't get everything that I wanted.
Did you hear her go?
Woo!
I had money saved up for it though.
No, I appreciate that. So I really want, make sure you reach out to Caleb this week coming up.
Mm-hmm. We actually changed my invoice because the first one was like 2,000. Hold on. The first one was 2,300, but this one, like I took some stuff off, and it came to like 1878. But I'm not ready. Like I want my website together. Like I scheduled me a photo shoot. Like I'm gonna get my makeup done. I scheduled me a photo shoot. My sister Jazz is gonna help me with my website, like getting to that point, and then like I put my product on my website, and then I would get ready to launch my website. Like I just want to be together. If you get what I'm saying, like on a professional level.
Let me send you in here with Crystal, and then we'll get back on your thing.
Okay.
Liddell, how did it go?
Hey, yeah, come on, you know it's me. It went well. It went very well.
And I'm glad you went first, because I know you had some other obligations you wanted to attend to this morning. If you find that you need to sit down and work with her on a different level, I need to just know about it so we can defend the request.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. I appreciate that. Yeah, she too knowledgeable, and then she from the D for real.
All right, all right.
From Hamtramck, she from the D.
I didn't know you were from the Ham.
Comfortable. I'm comfortable with Crystal.
I didn't know you were from the Hampton. I didn't know. Okay.
That's funny. But yeah, but all right. Well, that's it for me. So I'll go ahead.
Next week we're gonna work on the startup budget. So please plan. Look at your book. We're gonna ask you. I'm gonna do an entire startup budget actively in class next week. But I want every person to start researching all the items that they think they feel they need in order to actually launch and start their business. And we'll walk through what that looks like, which is why I wanted to do credit and credit repair and all that good jazz before we got there.
Okay.
So
All
I'll
right,
see you,
great.
Miss Liddell, next week then.
All right.
Thank
See you
you.
later.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, who's next?
Don't matter.
Okay. Tish, what's that look? What's that look, Tish? She's like,
Hey, if I ain't ready, I better get ready. I better put my best foot forth.
all right. Let me pop into this room real quick and set up a timer.
Belly drive.
I just joined the room so that I could put a timer on it. I forgot to set the timer on this one. Hold on one second.
Oh, you got extra time.
All right, I'm gonna leave this room and then I'll just come back and exit her out when it's her time.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Okay.
Miss Jefferson, were you able to follow up with any people about your location? Because your location is really the only thing that's gonna hold me up.
With my location, no, I have not. I talked to them, but I haven't went anywhere.
Yeah. How much of your program can be run virtually? Is there any portion of it?
Yes, I can do classroom online.
So does it make okay, so when we think operationally about your training, can the physical part be done like in the latter part? See, I'm concerned about this second wave that they're talking about, and then we might go back to shelter in place again.
So, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I know the online, it says 36 hours has to be on, 36 hours can be online, but you have to have so many hours in a classroom setting. I think it's 16 hours.
Okay.
Retainer in, sorry if I'm not speaking clearly.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I think it's 16 hours. I have it wrote down somewhere. Hold on, let me go grab my paperwork.
Because that's really gonna matter. It's gonna matter big time.
Ooh.
I like those fingernails.
Thank you.
You
Ain't
did
they
them yourself?
stubby? I went to the nail shop.
Woo, girl, God bless you. I ain't going nowhere near them. No Lord.
I had my mask so tight on my face. I was like, I gotta go. Hurry up. But I was like, that's the only thing about going to get your nails and your hair did. You getting suffocated yourself out.
I'm gonna look like a ragamuffin until COVID-19 is no longer an issue. I ain't going nowhere.
You said I ain't budging. Y'all got me messed up.
If I can't keep braiding my own hair and doing my own fingernails and my own pedicure, it ain't gonna happen.
I just remember, like, back in the day, I used to do my own nails. Now it seemed like I done handicapped myself.
No, Tish, you're absolutely right. I looked at my fingernails. I looked at all these kits and things I got hundreds of dollars worth of stuff I used to buy and I never use anymore because I go to the little folk and I let them do it. But I'm trying to tell you now, I'm dusting it off. The last two jobs didn't look too great, but I'm getting better and better. It's just gonna keep practice. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah. Making me want to go out and get the little thing that you stick your hand in when you get the.
Yeah, right. I got that. I bought that UV light. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me look. Let me put that down. That's my next thing I get. Oof. I
You
don't
better
want.
stop buying stuff. You better be saving this money.
I done spent out. I done spent out. It's over. I have totally spent out on my business. I done totally washed my pockets out. I mean, cleanse them. They
You bone dry.
but I got everything. I think I might be lacking probably enough little tools and fews of things that I may need, which is very, I think, simple. I ordered some shirts. I just got to get them off. And then, I got to learn how to work my equipment. I don't know how to work none of my equipment. Like, it's looking at me and I'm looking at it like, wow. It's like it's trying to intimidate me. But I'm
you are a mess. Like, now what you gonna do? Now what you gonna
It's like talking to me, like picking on me, and I'm just looking at it like, okay, I don't know you right now, but I'm gonna know you in a minute.
That's what's up. I sent you some of those tutorials on how to use some of that stuff. Did you see those videos?
Yeah. The machine that I have is like a little bit more advanced than I expected.
You should send me the information on the machine, and I'll see if I can find something specifically for that machine. Ms. Jefferson. So what you think?
Okay, so I'm reading here. It says that they have to have 75 hours in total of training. 16 of the hours is required of classroom training before they can go in direct contact with the patient. And then 16 hours has to be skill training. So that will be in the classroom as well. But then on the website, they did just update it and say something about virtual learning. So.
Wow. Okay. You want to get up to speed with that, because I've done some research on how I can go back into my own office, and they have these partitions that are made like a marble. Think about a marble. Like there are 4 pieces, and every corner is a plexiglass with a little divider, like you can slide stuff through it. And so you can have them all sit in a room, and even if they're not 6 feet away, it's a 4.5 foot tall plexiglass that separates them from anybody else. So they're in like divided spaces, almost like clear cubby holes.
To provide like some type of barrier.
Yeah, to provide the barrier. And I think it was like $179. I'm debating on whether or not I will buy it. My only hesitation for me to purchase it is I'm afraid about the facility. I want to be sure that the ventilation is right. If I can't open windows, I'm concerned that the air circulation is not doing for me what I needed to do. Because for me, I think if people who never had COVID before all of a sudden go into a place that's enclosed and they come out, even if they do have masks and they have COVID all of a sudden, that says it's the air ventilation.
Yeah, droplets remain in the room.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm like, So even a partition won't stop the air circulating. It only stops what a person puts on you. So I'm like, no.
Let's see. At this time, we are temporarily allowing nurse aid students to practice and demonstrate clinical tasks in healthcare settings outside a skilled nursing facility.
Because see, you could do a whole lot of virtual setups, and you can do a whole lot of practice sessions in virtual rooms. And then you may have to schedule, an hour with 3 people at a time and rotate them out. It's a lot of stuff you can do.
So it's a virtual classroom hours. The Bureau is approving the alternate option to the in-person face-to-face classroom requirements for all state-approved nurse aid training programs due to the current state of emergency, effective immediately.
Now, see, that's beautiful. You may not even need a physical facility to get started.
Must provide opportunity for the students. I just have to provide the opportunity for them to interact and engage.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, Jefferson, I'm gonna send you in next.
Okay.
Let me go and let them know that their time is up. Your time is up. So I'm gonna close this out, Crystal.
Okay.
It was nice meeting you.
All right, bye, Chris.
All right, all right, Chanel. I'm going to. What happened to Crystal? All right, Crystal, I'm sending you back with Miss Jefferson now. You got to unmute yourself. Oh, it wasn't you, it was me.
You heard me, Miss Laura.
What you say?
I need Chanel's email address so I can email her her credit report.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Chanel.
Okay, I'm about to put it in the chat.
Okay. Did I blow it? Because I can't. Okay.
She's putting it in the chat room for you.
Okay, cool. So I can email you your thing. Yeah.
All right, so I'm about to set up another breakout room. Chanel, you can go ahead. You don't even have to hang on no more. We're good until next week.
Okay.
All right, ladies,
Right,
talk
Chanel,
to you.
girl.
So now I'm gonna put Jefferson and Coach Crystal in the room.
Look, I'm acting like my screen froze. Little ass moving though.
Trying to see what house is that? Is that the Rugrats house? I don't know.
The Simpsons, girl.
That's what I thought, but I'm like, I don't know if that's the Simpsons or the Rugrats.
All right, Tish, it's just me and you for the next 10 minutes while she's
Okay.
working with Crystal.
Okay, now I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I need to get my life together. It's like seem like everything is on pause to me.
And that might be okay, Tish. That might actually be okay, because what you don't want to do is run, and the economy finna shut freaking back down again.
What?
Girl, they're talking about shutting things down again because the number of cases that are spiking. Wait, now when I say they, I'm talking about Gretchen. Your president is like, he doesn't care. If more people die, so be it. We're not in a position to shut this on down yet.
Mm-hmm. I went down to last weekend. They had I'm assuming it was a party. I don't know what was going on. But my dumb self walked up in there. I ain't have enough. I don't think my legs were moving fast enough. I walked in that bar down the street on Livernois, that new one, it's like a garage.
Mm-hmm.
That boy was so packed to capacity.
Mm-mm.
He had to be every bit of 4,000 people up in that building.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
When I walked upstairs and walked downstairs and looked at how many people was on the patio everywhere, I was gone. I couldn't run. I could not get up out of there fast enough. This man grabbed me like, baby, where you going? I said, get your goddamn hands off of me. Getting up out of here. Y'all finna catch coronavirus. I was out of there.
Oh, Lord.
Like, dang, baby, you just walked in. Yeah, and I'm just about to go.
Right.
I don't even want to talk to you.
Don't talk to me.
Right. I didn't.
Girl, you
crazy. I would not be shocked if everybody up in there didn't have coronavirus. I wouldn't be shocked. Because there was too many people to be trying to get up in this one building.
Yeah.
And they was
I
letting
ain't
them
going nowhere.
in.
Look, I went to my family's house for Father's Day and I was having conniption fits when my sister's new boyfriend came in. I was like, oh Lord, you done added somebody I don't know. One person, you hear me? I got up and got out. I was like, I got to go.
I don't blame you. This stuff is thorough. It's they think they about to be playing with people's lives around here. No, you ain't. You about to I said it. Yes, it's better that I'm doing this T-shirt thing. I don't think it's for me to be hands-on with people.
Right.
Nah,
You can
you
ship
want-
it. That's right.
Yep, you want something, let me know. Send me I gotta get, my equipment is not set up. It's not, how everything's supposed to be in order?
Yeah.
I'm out of order.
So wait, last
Right
time
now.
we spoke, Tish, actually last time we spoke, you thought you was gonna have to camp outside to see who was stealing your stuff when it was delivering. So you finally got it?
Yeah, I had to reorder a whole nother silhouette.
Mm.
The silhouette that I ordered was white. This one is black and is a higher, better silhouette. This is silhouette 4, cameo
Wow.
4. And the one that I ordered was a silhouette 3.
Mm.
I never received it. So I've been trying to tell them, where's my package? Where's my stuff? Nobody refunded me for neither one of them things that came up gone. I haven't got a refund yet.
Stay on them. Stay on top of them. Don't let them get away with it.
And it seemed like they done knocked it out the email. Like we never had any contact.
Discussion. Right. Mm-hmm.
So now I gotta figure out how to go back and get
How
them.
did you pay for it? You paid for it on your credit card?
Uh-huh.
So you call your credit card company. You know you can do that, right?
Okay.
You can call, ask Crystal when you get in there with her. She'll tell you exactly what to do, because you can call your credit card company and tell them, I never received this and I do not want to pay for it. I want it off my card. I'm disputing it.
Okay. Well, I got a couple of things I can dispute there. Yeah. I didn't know that. It was off my my debit credit card.
Yeah, but you got to make sure you use your debit card as a credit card, or else they won't give it back. You got to use it as you got to use a credit card. Ask her about the difference between the two.
Okay. Oh, it was the silhouette 4. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
The cameo.
That's the name of the machine?
Mm-hmm. Cameo silhouette 4.
You should take a picture of it and send it to me, and that way I can look for it.
Okay.
You're the only one in this whole class that's got my cell phone number.
And I be getting confused. That's the 810 number.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
They'll be done in about 3.5 minutes.
Okay. So now I got to figure out how to get some more money up to start putting in an account back in my bank account.
Well, you got your articles of incorporation done. That's what everybody else just did just this past week. They got their EINs and their article of incorporation done.
I don't know how to get my EIN. I need to, because I done applied.
Oh, we can do that. We can do that right now.
Okay, I applied twice and it have not came. I ain't even getting.
No. Wait. What you mean you applied? You should have been able to do it online.
It did not come. I ain't get no response. I ain't get nothing back from them. Anything. And it's been almost 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, guess what? It may take 6 to 8 weeks if you ask them to mail it to you. You were supposed to do an electronic. You could have made them give it to you immediately, right then and there. As soon as you completed it, it says, how do you want it? Mailed to you, or do you want it to be sent to your email? So they probably emailed it to you and you just can't access your email. Did you put in an email address, or?
They got my email.
All right. We can do it after this call. We'll just use the same link. Let me let you talk to her, because I don't want to get stuck in the middle of something and it holds up your session.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, they're getting ready to pop back in.
Okay.
All right, so I know that it seemed like it went really quick, didn't it? Both of you are muted. Both of you are muted.
Yes, super fast. I'm like, man.
We started talking like, yes, girl, and then, okay, bye-bye.
All right, so Ms. Jefferson, if you have need for Coach Crystal, make sure you let me know. Send it to me, get it to Caleb, and as long as we can justify how it'll help support, then we'll move in that direction.
Okay, do you need me to send you my information for the address change?
Yeah, you want to give it to Caleb so we can go in and modify your registration.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right. See you next week.
See you
All
next-
right, Miss Jefferson.
Bye.
Nice to
See
meet
you
you.
soon.
All right, so you got one last person, Miss Coach Crystal, and she's actually in Detroit, so she's going to be a Detroit candidate.
Yes, Miss White. What?
So I'm gonna send you into the room with her, and she's not part of the Flint Small Business Initiative, but she can still connect with you or whatever. Okay.
Okay.
Let me move you, Tish, to the room with Crystal. All right, all right.
Wow.
So, Crystal, thank you for your service this morning. That's all there is to it. Tish, you figured out how to connect with her. Your phone's still on mute.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I think, yep, yep.
All right. All right. All right.
Right.
You the Bob.
Hopefully-
You the Bob,
Okay.
Coach Crystal.
Man,
Yes.
thank you for inviting me. This was fun. This is my first one through Zoom, and I think it went pretty well.
Oh, wonderful. I like the breakout rooms too, where you can have some privacy and meet with people individually.
Yes.
That's cool. That's the them the bougie settings. I don't have them settings. They're for the real professionals. I
You're
understand.
so crazy. You're so crazy. And it's so funny because I have an all-female cohort this particular go around. So it looks to me like they'd rather work with the Coach Crystal, right?
Oh,
I know, just because the way y'all jailed, I can tell.
yeah. We all got along good. It was a good group. Y'all a good group.
Mhm. All right,
All right,
so
y'all do
Tish,
y'all thing because I got to do a live on Facebook to answer these questions I got.
yes. Talk to you
All
later.
right, thank you, Miss Laura. Bye,
Thank
Miss
you.
Tisha.
All right,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.
Thank you again.
Bye. All right, Tish, you got some
Okay.
homework to do. You know how to catch up with Crystal?
Yes, she gave me her number and she
Okay.
gave me also a group. So that's a good thing.
Awesome.
She gave me a group. I can go join like a women's group or something.
Yeah.
The business to get me started. And that's the only 2 programs she said is still up and going.
Nice.
So I'm gonna try to get off into that. And let's see, I'm going to send you the matter of fact, I'm gonna send you both of them. Like, I don't know nothing about printers either.
Okay.
I went and got this printer that's supposed to be the ultimate printer. So I'm gonna send you the information on that printer.